1,000 years ago, people in Europe heard a sound from the sea. The sound of big wooden ships. The sound of oars in the water, coming fast from the north. Everyone knew that sound. The Vikings are coming. People ran. They hid. They locked their doors. They prayed. Because when the Vikings came, everything changed. Very fast. But who were the Vikings really? Most people think they know. Big dirty men with horns on their helmets. Wild and scary. This is what movies show. But this is not true. First of all, the Vikings did not have horns on their helmets. Their helmets were simple iron or leather. And the Vikings were actually very clean people. They washed their bodies. They combed their hair. They cut their nails. At that time in history, most people in Europe did not wash. The Vikings did. Every week. The word Viking means a person who travels by sea. Not a monster. Not a killer. Just a traveler. A person who looks at the ocean and thinks, I want to see what is on the other side. And they went. They saw everything. The Vikings came from Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Cold countries with long dark winters. Not much good land. Not enough food for everyone. So they looked at the sea. The sea was their road. They built the best ships in the world at that time. Long and thin and very fast. Made from wood. These ships could go on the big open ocean. But they could also go on small rivers. Deep into other countries. Where nobody expected them. One Viking ship could carry 60 men. It could travel 124 miles in one day. It had one big red sail. And many oars. When there was no wind, the men rowed. Together. Strong and fast. These ships took the Vikings to England. To France. To Spain. To Russia. To Iceland. To Greenland. And then all the way to North America. 500 years before Columbus. Yes, the Vikings found America first. Around the year 1000. They called it Vinland. They built small homes there. In the end they left. But they were there first. Now the raids. Yes, the Vikings raided. They came to towns and took food. Gold. Silver. Animals. People. They burned buildings. They fought anyone who tried to stop them. This was real, and it was terrible. But raiding was not all they did. The Vikings were also traders. They sailed far away and bought and sold things. Fur, honey, silk, spices, weapons. They weighed silver on small metal scales. They were businessmen on the same ships that carried warriors. They were also farmers. At home, they grew vegetables. They kept cows, sheep, goats, and horses. They caught fish from the sea and dried it so it lasted a long time. They were also craftsmen. They made beautiful things from metal and wood and bone. Jewelry, weapons, tools, cups. A Viking sword was one of the most important things a man could own. It went from father to son for many years. Some swords had names, written in runes. Runes. The Vikings had their own writing. Letters made of straight lines, cut into wood or stone. They believed runes had magic power. A warrior put runes on his sword for luck. A farmer put runes on his door for protection. Writing was a gift from the gods, they thought. The Viking gods are famous today. Odin, Thor, Loki, Freya. Their names are in movies and books and games. Thursday comes from Thor, the god of thunder. The Vikings prayed to these gods every day. Before a battle. Before a sea trip. Before planting food, Viking society had three groups. At the top were rich and powerful men. In the middle were normal free men, farmers and traders. At the bottom were slaves, people taken from other countries. Life as a slave was very hard. Viking women had more rights than women in many other places at that time. A woman could own things. She could ask for a divorce. She ran the home when her husband was away at sea, sometimes for months. She was strong and free. Children became adults very fast. At 12 years old, a Viking child was already an adult. Life was short. A Viking man lived about 40 years. A woman about 35. Sickness and cold and war took lives fast. But at home, Vikings were warm people. They loved music and songs. They told long stories about heroes and gods. These stories were called sagas. A good story could last all night. A good storyteller was very respected. They also loved games. Wrestling, running, ball games, board games. Long dark winter nights needed something fun. They ate twice a day. Their main food was a thick meat and vegetable stew. You just kept adding new things to the pot every day. The pot never really stopped cooking. Their bread was very hard and rough. Over time, the hard bread damaged their teeth. Many Viking skeletons have very bad teeth. They loved bright colors, blue and yellow and red on their clothes. A rich Viking wore silk and gold jewelry. They were proud people. They wanted to look good, and they were very brave. Think about getting on a small wooden boat in the cold North Sea in winter. No motor, no map, no radio. Just wood and rope and sail and oar. And the gray ocean in every direction. Dark and cold and dangerous. And you go anyway. That is real courage. Slowly, the Viking Age ended. New religion came. New rules. New ways of life. The last big Viking raid was in 1066. After that, it was over. But the Vikings left something behind. Words in many languages. Names of places. And stories. So many stories. Because the real power of the Vikings was never the sword. It was never the ship. It was something smaller. Something inside them. The feeling you get when you look at the ocean and think, I want to see what is on the other side. That feeling never really goes away. Maybe there is a little Viking in all of us.